Writer-director Celine Song is back now with her sophomore project that certainly has a lot of buzz around it, and rightfully so. I am very excited to get into my thoughts of this one. So let's jump into the review of the new film, Materialist. What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel today for another review. And today we're going to be reviewing the new film Materialist, coming to theaters June 13th. Brought to you by the good folks at A24, and as I mentioned, writer-director Celine Song. Now, if you had not heard of her, that's okay. You definitely want to ensure you go out the way to check out her feature debut film, Past Lives, which won and was nominated for a ton of awards. And I might go as far as saying in the year of 2023, that was my favorite film. Very impressive. Definitely check that out. But now coming back with her sophomore project, loaded with names, you kind of wonder, how would she deliver? There's a lot of expectations with this film. And I'm here to say, I thought the film was okay. Mainly because I don't think the script was bad. I just wasn't really into the delivery of the script. And I don't know necessarily if it was just Dakota Johnson's performance or just overall, but there was just times where I just felt like the dialogue was very robotic. And, you know, we'll talk about her character Lucy in a minute, but it's not a question that Dakota Johnson, Chris Evans, and Pedro Pascal have chemistry, because if you even look at the promotional work, the photography they've done, all of the press that they've done, it's there. But on screen, there was times where I was just kind of like, this feels like a very much higher production of Love is Blind, where people are just reading lines, which they don't read on there, but it felt very robotic. It didn't feel so organic. And the correlation to Love is Blind is that obviously we know how the editing is done there, and people, being nervous to meet each other for the first time. And I don't know, just something about the delivery. And they're not actors, but these are seasoned actors. And so I'm just kind of confused why I felt the dialogue just felt a little robotic. I won't go as far as saying forced, but there definitely was just something about the delivery of the dialogue that just didn't quite feel organic to me at all. But when it comes down to the acting, I thought Dakota Johnson did a great job in taking this film from A to B. And Chris Evans is great. Pedro Pascal, he can't miss. But I really want to take time to say that I really feel the star power is from the supporting cast. Zoe Winters is Sophie. She has tons of great moments. Moments that you can feel the emotions out of everything she's saying. Just looking at her, you can feel the emotions. Marin Ireland plays the character Violet. Also a strong character at times. And when I say strong, in a sense of just you believe in what she believes. Great delivery with her, and just the force in her own. And there's other characters I would say that had very minimum time, but you bought into their work. All that to say, again, with the trio, just the chemistry together at time was it just didn't work for me because of the dialogue and how it was delivered. But about the film, let's talk about the film, because Dakota plays a character, Lucy. Lucy is this, as they say in the synopsis, a young, ambitious New York City matchmaker, where she finds herself torn between a perfect match and an imperfect ex. And because the film is so heavily based around dating, it definitely has a lot of commentary and narratives around dating. And you will find yourself very much invested into that conversation. You will agree, you will disagree, you may agree to disagree in certain aspect of it. But what is really interesting, and I will say for all the guys out there, is it's interesting to really hear this conversation from a female's perspective. In fact, we always talk about bro code. I felt like they opened up the books of all the women's secrets in this field. But also, I think it also tells a story, but yet a narrative of the New York dating scene, which if you watch tons of dating shows, and I would even go as far as saying Couples Therapy, which is on Showtime, heavily focused on the dating and relationship scene in New York, that you see that sort of representation in different stories that you kind of heard from different shows and different mediums really being displayed, and it's complicated, and everybody is trying to find their person, but everybody definitely has a very sophisticated list of requirements and non-negotiables, and they definitely tie into all of that. But when you talk about, again, the dynamic here, Lucy has an ex, John, played by Chris Evans. John doesn't quite have it together, but when it comes down to somebody who understands her and has a heart, it's definitely him. And then Pedro Pascal is Harry. He's wealthy. He checks all the boxes. Is he emotionally available for her? Sure, maybe. But does it feel like home to Lucy? Maybe not. And you do see really just, for probably bad analogy here, you kind of see this Twilight dynamic of Team Jacob and Team Edward instead of Team John and Team Harry. And, you're going to have your choices. You will. And I think that probably is a element of engagement here. But for me, I really didn't. I kind of was just kind of like, this is really predictable. I kind of know where this is going, and then it kind of went that way, and then you kind of like, no surprise, but beyond just this love triangle that Lucy's in, I love that Lucy also is a woman who's very confident in her job and matchmaking and helping people find their perfect people, checking in, doing the work. But it also explores the good, the bad, and the ugly of dating. And with that, will she be able to emotionally not tie herself to failed dates, bad matches, or even worse, So you do see sort of a struggle of work-life balance with this character that I think people will be able to resonate with. And it does make you really buy into Dakota's performance as Lucy. It just only struggles when there's conversation with Lucy and John, Lucy and Harry, John and Lucy. Even John and Harry is kind of like, can somebody talk like they really want to talk here and not just reading lines? Like, let us feel the imperfections of struggling to get the words because there's so much emotion involved. They really just don't. But I'm going here to say this, that I think this is a perfect date night movie for couples, newly dating couples. I would even say singles may even have a time in going to check this out. If this is hosted in some type of event, I think it'll be good, because I got to be honest, for me, I was a little emotionally devastated by this because there was just a lot to think about here. Because while there is, again, a conversation around dating, it also has a conversation about conversation. So, when you're talking about communication, it definitely will have the gears start to turn about maybe your past, maybe your future, maybe your present, all of that, But then let me just get down to some of the interesting sort of commentary in this film. There was a lot of emphasis on height, like it really. And listen, maybe ladies help me out here, but like there was so much emphasis on being above 6 feet, and how that is a non-negotiable for a lot of women. Even to the point that they highlighted that there's a surgery you can get to add 6 inches of height for $20,000. And would you do it? And if you do it, what's the response from it? They cover all of that. You'll see and hear it when you check out the film. But I just was not expecting it to have so much emphasis on height. But yes, there's also other emphasis in terms of what women look for, like wealth, stability, and things you would expect. But again, told from a woman's perspective and the things that women objectify, guys, chill out, because, guys, we do it too. We objectify physical attributes, but we also have sort of measures of, qualities that we like. And just to hear from a woman's perspective doesn't make them wrong, but it is interesting because you don't really see that often, so it was kind of refreshing in that note. But also, too, it's so different that, you might catch yourself thinking like, oh, wow, never considered that there. So with that being said, again, single, female, male, non-binary, whatever it may be, there is definitely a seat in the theater for you to check this out. You will learn something for sure. But I didn't overly love this film. I saw some commentary about being one of the best films of the world. Best film of the year, best performances by the trio. I don't necessarily believe that, but I do think the supporting actors really did plant their flag in the sand and made a statement for their performance of this. The names, I get it, they're attractive, they're Marvel related, so the folks that love Marvel is going to be happy to see them. These folks have had impressive resumes over the years, so of course people and their fandoms are going to see no wrong. But I think, honestly, unbiasedly, like, this isn't their strongest performance. There's definitely a lot more room in the tank for all three of our leads. But they did good jobs. They definitely did a good job. There are no slacks, but this definitely wasn't a film that they went out there to try to prove something. But the supporting actors, again, Zoe, Marin, fantastic. Really fantastic. Even in minimal roles, fantastic. So definitely nods to the supporting cast here. But it's a cute story. You will definitely find something to want to talk about with this. Maybe I do a spoiler review later. Maybe not. Who knows? But check it out. Celine Song definitely is and should be a respected director, writer. Definitely can't wait to see what she does next. And I also do love that because of her heritage and background and being able to tell different and refreshing stories than we typically get, pro representation, that I think this is a unique experience with this film. A lot of what you may know, even with me having a predictable mindset of the plot, the perspective, the way it's told, the way it's shot at times as well too, definitely unique. But also, as I seen past lives to this, you start to really see like her DNA all over this, and she does a good job in really bringing humanity out in characters, and that across the board definitively is great. Both films now. So 2023 Past Lives, 2025 Materialist. I guess that means 2027. We got something going on here. I don't know. I'll be here to definitely talk about it. But check it out in theaters June 13th. Jump in the comments, folks. Let me know your thoughts about this, your excitement. What team were you a part of? And how you feel about dating, I guess. And is height really that important for you women out there? Is it 6 feet or deal breaker or what? I don't know. Just let me know in the comments. Appreciate you watching the review, folks. We'll see you back for more content here at Big O Belt Media very soon. Thank you for watching.